Good morning. Happy Saturday. It's book talk day. I'm going to hang out until somebody gets on here, so I'm not talking to myself. In the meantime, you'll see my big goofy glasses. I got these on Amazon. They're like blue light filtering glasses, so when I work in front of the computer all day, which is every day except for the weekend, I wear them. They help with filtering out the blue light so you don't get headaches as much, and they actually do help quite a bit. I found that if I don't wear them and forget to put them on, I have a headache around 3 or 4 o'clock. So something to think about. They were uber cheap, like $8 on Amazon. So anyway, blue light filtering glasses. They need cleaned, so I'm gonna take them off. But just thought I'd tell you that if you have headaches from technology, which I definitely do. All right, well, nobody's on here yet, but I am gonna do a couple shout outs while we wait. I just want to give a couple shout outs to some of my friends who are girl bosses and awesome. They each have their own small business, and this week I decided to help them both out a little bit. So the first one is Ella and Ava Boutique, and that's by Alicia Davis. And I got some adorable pink mauve jogger pants. They're so cute, and they're linen, and they're super comfy. So check her out. It's Ella plus Ava Boutique. She's got really cute accessories, clothes, shoes, all kinds of good stuff. And second is my friend Molly. I've known her since I was 5. We grew up together, and she has always been excellent and creative with leathercraft. She started in 4-H and has just been amazing with it. And so now she has her own business called Red Horse Leather, and you can find her on Facebook as well. But if you know me, you know I love animal prints, and she just posted a new purse that she made with animal print, and I was like, oh my gosh. So I text her right away, and I was like, I want it. So I can't wait. I'm gonna go over and get it today, even though we're supposed to stay home. It's just me and her, and we're gonna exchange the purse. So anyway, check them out. Ella and Ava Boutique and Red Horse Leather, both awesome girls that I've known a while, and they have their own business, and I'm proud of them, and it's cool. Also, we're coming up on the tail end of National Library Week. It was this past week, but the week's not over yet. So I just wanted to remind you that the library's doors are closed, but they're not closed. They are, in fact, still open and still working to get books to people and increase literacy and love of reading and just be there for people in more ways than one. You know, printing still, offering printing services, and thinking of creative ways that they can help their communities. So don't forget to support your libraries this week and every week. All right. Well, I see Aunt Sally's here. Hi, Sally. I don't know if I've ever told you about this book yet, so this is exciting. So my first book is a memoir, and it's a bit on the more serious side, but the second book is a romantic comedy, so it's not as serious. So we're going to kind of do the two sides of the librarian here. So first is Educated by Tara Westover. And this is a memoir, and I don't know if it's still on the New York Times bestseller list. It's very possible that it is. You might check. It's been on there for probably ever since it came out. So I wasn't planning to read this book, and then our Rosie committee decided we were going to look into this book for a possible Rosie book, but then we decided it was more of an adult book than a teen book. But anyway, it was still fabulous. I'm glad I read it. So I normally don't read a lot of memoirs or nonfiction, but this one I'm so glad I read. At times it's hard to read because the content is a little bit disturbing and interesting at the same time. Readers will fall in love with the main character, Tara, and kind of want to see how her life turns out. So for that reason, I couldn't put it down. I had to finish it. Tara has never stepped foot in a classroom her whole life until she was 17 years old. She was born in the deep woods of Idaho to an extreme survivalist group, and she was not allowed to go to school. Her parents never got birth certificates for her or her siblings. Everything was, the births were at home, no doctors or nurses involved. She never was taken to see a doctor or nurse despite injuries. She spent her days working in a dangerous area. Her father had a junkyard where she worked salvaging metal, and you can imagine that's kind of a dangerous thing. So there were injuries, and despite various things that happened to her during her childhood, she was never taken to be treated for anything. Her mother did herbal remedies and was a midwife, so her mother handled everything at home. Another thing Tara spent her time doing was canning, stockpiling food in their pantry and storage areas because they were convinced that the world was going to end and they had to have everything. Also, she stewed herbs for her mother's potions, and not potions, but medicines and herbal things that she sold to people. And then she also helped her mom with birth. So, kind of an interesting childhood there. A lot of different things that she was doing, not schooling, but learning in other ways. But her father's extremist beliefs and actions are deplorable, and it's hard to wrap your head around some of the things that happened to Tara and her brothers and sisters when they were growing up. Well, spoiler alert, Tara did get away from her unhealthy, dangerous survivalist roots, and she makes something of herself despite the fierce loyalty that she feels to her family members and the grief at severing the ties. After studying and teaching herself enough to pass the ACT, she gets admitted to Brigham Young University, and there she excels and loves to learn. And from there, she goes on to Harvard and then Cambridge University, and she is unable to quell her insatiable thirst for knowledge. But will she ever really feel at home anywhere? Does she belong to Idaho, working alongside her family's business? Could she ever really escape that upbringing that she had? So it's a very unique and fascinating coming of age book. You'll really enjoy it. I had a hard time reading it, like I said, some of the parts, just because I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened to her. But as you can tell, she made it through, because now she's a thriving adult that's has this wonderful education background, and she still does have contact with her family, but you'll read near the end kind of how that is. So yeah, it's a really, really good book. I suggest it for readers of all ages. I thought when we were considering it for the Rosie Award that it was a little too much for a teen pleasure read, because I don't know that I would have picked it up to read for fun when I was a teenager. Definitely not. But teens would enjoy it if they want a more serious book. It does make you have an ever-growing gratefulness for education and normal family, which nobody's family is normal, but it does make you appreciate what you have compared to what Tara grew up with. So, very good memoir, educated, highly recommend. I think I've pushed this to everybody in my family already. Maybe not you, Sally, or Dad, but I know Mom and Liz have read it. So, there you go. Very good one. All right, next is a romantic comedy. I'm so glad you're here, Dad. I know you're going to love this one. Okay, so this is called The Happy Ever After Playlist, and it's by Abby Jimenez. And the romantic comedies of late have like the most amazing covers. They don't have like the old scantily clad, long-haired lady with her lace dress coming off her shoulder and the long-haired man looking at her longingly. You know those covers. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, they all have like cutesy little animated covers with lots of bright color, and I'm a big fan. If you notice the trend, they all look kind of like this now, and I love them. This is one of my favorites because the dog plays a huge part in this book. So I didn't really realize that when I got asked to review it, but I'm so glad I did, because the dog has a huge part and it's fun. Okay, so this is a standalone romantic comedy. It can be read after the first book that Abby wrote. It's called The Friend Zone, but it doesn't have to be read in order by any means, because even though the characters overlap, they're both separate stories. So in The Friend Zone, it's the story of Kristen and Josh. And then this book, The Happy Ever After Playlist, is the story of Kristen's best friend, Sloane. So you get to know Sloane just a tad in the previous book. But it takes place in LA, and it's told in multiple points of view between Sloane and Jason. So Sloane, her fiance, Brandon, died in a motorcycle accident, and it's been 2 years since she lost him. And since then, she's kind of been a shell of herself. She was once happy and exuberant. She's a very, very talented painter, used to paint things that looked almost like photographs. They were so perfectly painted. But sadly, all she can bring herself to paint now are commissioned things that don't require much creativity. On her way to the cemetery for her annual visit to Brandon's grave on the day that he went for his motorcycle ride and didn't come home, she is stopped in the road by this big sloppy ball of fur, and the dog is standing there, looking at her. And then the dog proceeds to jump into her car through the sunroof, and it looks like a golden retriever, and it's very friendly. It proceeds to hack up some grass that it's eaten all over her cup holder and her latte that she just got, and she's like, what the heck? And then the cops come, and they're like, lady, you're blocking the road. So needless to say, she doesn't make it to the cemetery, and instead she takes the dog to PetSmart and tries to see if she can find, an owner for it. Well, he does have a collar on, and it says Tucker, a good boy. So she takes him to PetSmart, finds out that there's a microchip. She gets the owner's number. She doesn't know anything about this owner, Jason, but she calls and leaves a message. Hey, Jason, I've got your dog, Tucker. I'm going to hang on to him until you call me back, because she knows she shouldn't take him to the pound or anywhere like that, because we don't really know what happens to animals there. And she's a animal lover, softie, kind of like me, softie. So anyway, she tries for weeks daily to call Jason, and every day she leaves these messages saying what her and Tucker are doing, and she starts sending Jason funny photos, and as she starts taking Tucker for walks, she starts laughing again at his crazy antics, and she starts smiling again, and she starts to become the Sloan that her friend Kristen and Josh know and love, and they're happy to see that she's kind of coming back around again. So that's all good. But she finds out that Tucker's a Nova Scotia duck tolling retriever, and that's a hunting dog, and her fiance Brandon was an avid hunter. So she wonders, was Tucker meant to find her? Was he sent by Brandon? So then she's kind of like, well, I don't really want to give up Tucker. It's going to be really hard when Tucker's owner finally gets back a hold of me. Meanwhile, where is this Jason, and why has he been MIA for 2 weeks? Well, Jason is a singer-songwriter, and he's been in Australia on a tour. So when he finally gets all of Sloane's hilarious daily messages and updates about her time with Tucker and the photos she sends, he can't believe his luck. Not only is she hilarious and loves his dog to pieces, but she's also beautiful and fun. And he's like, wow. Well, the only problem is that his life is not conducive to settling down with anyone. He's a traveler. He doesn't even have a home that he lives in. He kind of lives in a trailer and travels around for a tour, from tour to tour. And then Sloane is still trying to bounce back from 2 years prior and losing her fiance just out of the blue. So as you see, it's not really cut out for these two to live happily ever after, but the dog has a huge presence, and you'll really like the book. There's some secrets that are uncovered about Jason later on in the book, and yeah, I'm not going to tell you what happened, but it's good, and it's really cute, and it's heartfelt, and yeah, good book. Totally. Good Valentine's Day book. I'm a little off on my seasons, but that's okay. Well, that's all I have for you today. Anybody reading anything good? What are you reading, Aunt Sally? I haven't asked you that in a while. Currently, I'm reading a book about a gal who's stealing art and pulling off this heist, but she falls in love with the guy she's supposed to be stealing from, so that's a problem. She's actually stealing it so she can fund orphanages in India, though, so she's like female Robin Hood. Not too bad, really. Anyway, all right, well, on that note, I guess I'll let you guys go, and I hope you have a great week, and if you need any book recommendations, you can always check out my website. It's librarianlaura.com, and like I said, I put all these videos on my YouTube channel, so if you want to go back and see anyone. Ooh, Billionaire Bachelor. Hi, Ashley. Who's the author of that one? I can't remember. By the way, if you have, any of you, if you read ebooks, and I don't discern between ebooks and regular books, I love them all because I just read whatever I get my hands on. I do prefer a physical book, but right now they're hard to get, so ebooks are just fine. But the cool thing is, tons and tons of authors, especially the authors at the that I know from Book Bonanza, they've been giving away their ebooks like crazy. And this one gal on Facebook has made this huge Amazon list of free ebooks. So if you're interested in getting free ebooks to your Kindle or iPad or even your phone, there's amazing resources right now that have been made free. My Kindle is so loaded with ebooks, I'm waiting for them to be like, you have too many, and I'm going to cry. We'll see. Let's see. Okay, Ash, let me know. The Lamplighter by Anthony O'Neill. Ooh, that sounds good, Sally. I'm going to have to look that up after the video. All right, well, I'll let you guys go. Have a great day, and thanks for tuning in. See you later.